Let's check out the Fuso starting grid for race number 11 of this 36 race championship for 2013. It will be Bright and Will Davison off the front row. Then Craig Lowndes, Fabian Coulthard, positions 3 and 4 on row 2. 5 and 6, Whincup and Davison. This time it's brother Alex Davison that we focus on. Then Mark Winterbottom alongside James Courtney. Ford versus Holden, 7 and 8. Positions 9 and 10, David Reynolds and Shane Van Gisbergen. Shane's been a bit quiet since that strong win at the Clipsal 500 in Adelaide. And how's this on debut? Chaz Mostert, he's alongside the other rookie sensation of 2013, Scotty McLaughlin.
James Moffat has been leading the way for Nissan this weekend. We just had a chat with Lee Holdsworth for Irwin Racing and the Erebus Motorsport AMG Mercedes. Mauro Engel has been qualifying quite well, although for this one he will start back in 18th. Michael Caruso with Todd Kelly, so the Nissan side-by-side there, and Tim Slade with Dino Fiore, a local boy who has a very busy time at this event. There's a lot of focus from media, and he loves it. Born in Kalgoorlie, with Garth Tander, the 2 WA drivers in the field, and to the rear of the grid, Russell Ingall, who was penalised some spots because of an infringement yesterday, his involvement with the David Wall. So Russell was due to go back to the rear of the grid, but Alex Premer, courtesy of leaving pit lane unlawfully, has now been given that spot. He was excluded from the qualifying session. There's the enforcer. And there is Jamie Whincup. 4 pole positions for the year, make that 5.
Thank you very much.
Just the one race win. Mark Winterbottom moved into the top 10 in the championship yesterday after being on the podium.
We've got the 2 fire trucks just approaching.
Voice of our race director Tim Schenken in the background, and he does a great job of managing these affairs. So we're just about set to get the green flag. There's been a couple of little minor repairs, temporary repairs done to the curbing at turns 5 and 6 as well. We'll keep an eye on that for you.
Green flag at the back.
100 kilometres ahead, 42 laps, the first of 2 races for the V8s this afternoon. And Will Davison's got off to an absolute flyer. Jason Bright will be rounded up quickly by the time they get to turn 1. And he's dropped back to 4th position, 3rd. Yep, 4th position. So from pole down to 4 for Bright. Davison, Coulthard, Whincup. They took advantage of a sloppy start from Team BOC.
Like it was a very good jump also for Jamie Whincup, but then clearly he didn't get anywhere with it as he got down to turn 1, which very often happens. But Bright's bobbled away from the line, and that's costly when all of a sudden you find yourself in that position, having done all the work for the pole position. That means 100 kilometres of almost certain pain.
And you just can't do that, Neil. You've got to, from pole position here, you've got to be in. There's Holdsworth in the sand at turn 6.
It'll trigger a
He'll
safety
be out.
car.
There'll be safety car for sure.
Dave Wall slammed in, needs to return more.
But you've got to capitalise. You can't do all that work in qualifying and not make that opportunity stick.
Safety car boards and flags, safety car boards and flags, safety car standby, have a car off in the sand at turn 6.
So Lee Holdsworth has pinned the blame on David Wall, making contact with him at turn 4. He's not going to leave there in a hurry.
It's in there pretty deep, isn't it?
It's Dave Stewart, and to the rear there, Betty Klemenko, chatting to Erebus Motorsport CEO Ryan Madison. So remember that Jason Bright in the last qualifying session had the top of his gear lever come off. And we discussed how they pieced that back together. I wonder if that may have played a role in his start, and that's where Lee goes off at turn 6. Either way, Will Davison starts on the front row of the grid, has the lead of the race. Fabian Coulthard is behind him. The Pettis safety car has been activated. So we will grab a break here at Barbagallo.
going to get going, or do you have to drag this off the circuit?
If it's got a flat tyre, we're going to have to drag it, so I cross the track for at least 200 metres up.
Okay, thank you. Safety cars at 2-1. We should drive it back, or you can see is he going to park it over?
With that front left view, but I'm trying to go straight and I've got a lot of right hand down. They reckon it's on the ground on the left hand side at the front, so it's collapsed the suspension.
So the safety car is still in control of the field on lap 4 out of 42. Lee Holdsworth's car is currently being dragged out of the sand. It has a flat tyre, and as a result, there you go, as a result, the incident with David Wall, car 21, is under investigation. Murph, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm down here at Erebus with Ross Stone, guys. Ross, I mean, things have been really looking up, big improvements this weekend. To have that obviously happened on the first lap of this race after Lee did a great job of qualifying 15th. Bloody disappointing.
Yeah, it is disappointing, you know. It's all heading in the right direction, and, you know, it's the whole story. You just need a clean first lap and then you're away.
You got a bit of a helping hand?
Yeah, I absolutely use, and no doubt David Wall gave him a touch-up, so once we get all the in-car stuff and have a look, we'll go from there.
Thanks, mate.
And there is David Wall. He's got Dean Fiore behind him.
The plus and minuses, Jason Bright, we saw that start from the front row of the grid. He's back in 4th position, so he's lost 3. Craig Lowndes' bad start, lost 5 spots. And here's the onboard David Reynolds. You can see there Lowndes ended up right out in the weeds because of Bright's start. So he got caught because of that. That's the reason Lowndes has lost 5 positions. And then there's some hustle and bustle. You can see there with David Reynolds. David Reynolds is 10th in the field now. Garth Tander grabbed 4 spots, so he's come up 4. So did Todd Kelly. And Rick Kelly, fantastic first lap, up 5 positions. So Rick, at the moment, is 20th from 25th.
And over the race management channel, our race director, Tim Schenkel, was conferring with that rescue crew just to find out what to do with car 4 up there.
Scafie, I'm just panicking, mate. Can you go back and check? I'm just looking at Holdsworth's car there with the bonnet up. Did I put the pins back in?
I think you did. Like, I was worried about you doing that, but you did. Very well done. Now, the other part that is going to play in this second sector now of the race will be tyre usage and what people do with a safety car period like this now. It may encourage them not to change tyres. The other thing that the Mercedes and Nissan guys have been a little concerned about is actually fuel economy for this 100k race. The Mercedes-Benz guys were right on the verge. They're using a bit more fuel than the others, right on the verge of whether they'd make it or not. This will obviously help those AMG cars that are still in the field. Obviously doesn't help Lee Holdsworth.
Gets them off the hook.
Terrific crowd here this weekend.
Ready to go.
They're enjoying the sunshine too, all around this circuit.
Down here with Bradley Jones. Jason Bright start there, mate. Probably not what you were looking for. Was there a drama or just didn't quite get it right?
Yeah, he probably blinked when the light turned green, I think. Look, it's just one of those things, Larko. He got a bit too much gas in it, got a bit of wheel spin. And so, but I think he's going to be fast. He's pretty composed in the car and he seems to have it all sorted out.
Brad, I've got to ask you about strategy now. It wasn't really marginal prior to the start of the race. Now we've got a safety car. You've got to really think about this now. It's a lot more marginal if and when.
Yeah, it's going to be a matter of who blinks first. For me, I felt that you're probably looking at something from 17 on, and if there was a safety car, say lap 10, you'd stop. But we've done 5 laps now, so that's really opened the window up. I think if we got one more safety car, you might even find people trying to get right through the end if it's quickly.
All right, mate, we'll let you get back to the restart. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks very much.
That's the interesting point for me, because effectively these first 6 laps, nothing's happened. There's been no tyre wear. So that's shortened up the window, the requirement to lean on these tyres. So if there is another safety car intervention, you could well get away with it. We'll see.
Safety car is off the circuit. Will Davison will lead them through. He's got Fabian Coulthard tucked in behind him. Whincup. Jason Bright. Single file down to turn 1. Gisbergen has Reynolds ready to pounce.
It was a very good restart of Will Davison's. So was Whincup right up onto Coulthard. That's a great bit of road over the fast right, and the only left-hander on this Barbagallo layout. And the change of direction at the top of the hill. This is the exit of turn 5. And then down to the bottom of the hill, down to the basin. Back up the hill. It's a fantastic corner, big, fast, flowing. 4th gear, 5th, and then 6th. You'll hear them pull 6th now for the run down the roller coaster for turn 7. 255 kilometres an hour. Down the inside goes David Wall on Todd Kelly. Oh, bit of a bump. Oh, it's a bit ugly.
This is a little bit like last year for Will Davison in the sense that Saturday was a bit rubbishy, but cleaning up on the Sunday. So here he is leading. And remember, he was a rock star here this time last year. He came into the event this weekend with the points lead. He lost it to his rival Jamie Whincup yesterday, but he's in the box seat at the moment and has just recorded the fastest lap of the race, Merv.
Hey guys, just continuing with our tyre theme this weekend. Obviously, just looking up and down pit lane, the tyres that are ready to go on if these cars come in for a pit stop. Very few green tyres laid out. There's only a couple of guys that have got them. Some are looking at putting 2 on if they come in for the stop.
Bright, quickest to the first sector. He was leaning in on Whincup at turn 6.
And if you're wondering at home and you want to do some simple math, you can see on the graphic on screen at the moment they're working lap 8 of 42. Just add roughly, for simplicity, plus 20. We know that they'll get an easy 20 laps out of these tyres. Everything after that will depend on the balance of the car and how you drive it, what's going on traffic-wise. Here's a bit of that. Here's a bit of traffic. It's a Nissan jam into turn 1. Engel in the Mercedes AMG entry also on the inside in there. So Davison's got half-second margin over Coulthard. Whincup and Bright looked menacing in that shot that we had a few moments ago.
Neil, if I could be so rude as just to remove the word easy from that easy 20-lap sentence you just made there, mate. Nothing easy when the tyres are good.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is so hard on tyres. The hardest place in the country on tyres per kilometre. It has a massive effect on the left-hand rear. This is in the bunker for Fabian Coulthard and Jason Bright at BJR.
9 laps complete, 9 laps.
Point being, though, that we know from yesterday's racing and history here that you're going to be able to nail the first 20 laps. Yes, there's tyre deck. We've known what it is and how much it plots, but it's after that. This is crazy back here, isn't it? So
it's a repeat cycle,
This time it's Engel on the outside. Jonathan Webb mixed up there as well. Darrell Lee Holden.
Oh, we saw Webb give Engel a bit of a touch-up at turn 1 yesterday. Just had a little bit of a bump there at turn 4. So this is this run down the hill. And it's one of the most difficult braking areas in the country because the car basically wants to continue on down there with the momentum and the inertia. Big fast race car into a very difficult turn-in point. And this is pretty lively at the front now, guys, because Coulthard's crept up on Will Davison. Whincup's right up in behind them. Jason Bright's been putting pressure on Whincup. Winterbottom's also moved on to the back of Bright. So that top 5, there is very little in it. In fact, on the last lap, there was less than 1/10 of a second between all 5 guys. So we're on board now with Whincup looking back at Bright.
This will give you a good view too that you've been pointing out, Scafie, at the different lines they take at this turn. Whincup wider, Bright goes in tighter.
That has the effect of allowing Jamie to get off a little cleaner without asking as much of the left rear of the car because Jason turned in tighter, makes a tighter radius at the corner. He's got to use more steering angle and more throttle to launch the car off there. So he's trying to poke the nose up, looking for a passing opportunity into 6, but it hurts him a little on the exit. You can see the rubber band effect there, and he's searching to try and induce a bit of cold air into the front of the car there, into the brakes and into the engine radiator intake area and the induction area, because the hot air is stinking hot behind these cars. And that's what he spoke about last night, that he thought the race car was quite quick, but when you're buried, there's not a lot you can do with it.
Well, he qualified pole. That's what happens. As soon as you make a bad start, then you put yourself in this spot, don't you? So he'll be ruining that start line performance.
And he had to use a lot of the tyre in the battle he had with Whincup yesterday, a little bit earlier in the race than he wanted to. You invariably eat up more of your car in the position that he's in at the moment, because he's got it going on both sides, because he's also got Mark Winterbottom not terribly far behind him. It's a great battle, isn't it?
And what a difference a day makes with this, because Lowndes is behind Alex Davison in 8th position. And although he's putting some pressure on Alex, doesn't look like he's got the pace that he had yesterday. So it's strange to have the 60-60 performance that we saw Craig yesterday escape from the field, basically beat everybody by a 2-second margin. And I know that we're only in early days of 13 laps of 42, but it doesn't look like it's got the Whincup or Davison or Coulthard or Bright or Winterbottom front 5 speed.
Bright made a little mistake off the top of turn 5 there, and then he had to jump back and cover Winterbottom, so he would have got a little bit loose and change of direction over the top of the hill. See, he's covering again now.
Good run that time, Coulthard. That was a good run. You've got to have a dive when you're close like that. You're just probably half a car length too far back. And remember, Fabian's been having a problem at turn 7 all weekend. So that's probably not his passing spot. His passing spot will be down the hill. Oh.
So it's a good battle at the front, especially Will Davison. Just a 0.3 of a second lead over a fast-charging Fabian Coulthard. Well, the heat is on in more ways than one in this race. With 27 laps to go. At the front, Will Davison leads by 0.3 over Fabian Coulthard, who looks fast enough and at times in position to have a crack. The rest of the top 5 are going in search of cooler air whenever they can, especially Jason Bright.
You guys, Michael Caruso and his Nissan has been the first one to blink. He came in, it was a strategy stop, but it wasn't a good stop. They lost a couple of seconds. The left rear was very slow to get on, so they've lost a little bit of that advantage that they're looking for, but he has been the first one to make a strategy stop in this race.
Yeah, thanks, Smith. We were just actually talking about who will be first to blink at the front, because it's probably smart to get out of this train. You're in the top 5. If you come out with a fresh tyre on, and then in those early laps you'll go faster than what these blokes are going now, you will make ground. The only problem is where does it bury you in the field to determine clear air and proper track position. So it'll be very interesting now with these top 5 guys. They will definitely stop. It's just when.
Yeah, it's a good point you make, Scapey. I was trying to milk from Mark Dutton and also from Team Bock what their strategies were, and obviously holding their cards close to their chest. But one thing is for sure, they're not fixed. They're going to see what their competitors do, because part of the game here is knowing what your competitors' tyre degradation is as much as your own.
So like our FPR.
Windcup's in, Winterbottom's in. So these guys have blinked. They're no doubt feeling the effects of traffic.
Maybe Wall's behind us. Rough idea of how far behind.
David Wall has just entered pit lane as well, and here comes Tim Blanchard also. So quite a few cars. There are teams preparing a pit lane. One of the Fujitsu cars is going to be in very shortly also. So someone has blinked, and the action has started in pit lane.
Oh, watch how close this is going to be. Millimetres.
That was tight.
Cold tyres.
They were green.
And that's an important shot for me because it shows who's around them. Because when we were in the break earlier and we were discussing the ins and outs of whether this would be a healthy thing to do, it was very dependent on where you were going to land in the traffic. So a little bit of clear air will serve them well.
And did you see how hard Whincup tried? When he came out of the pits then, he was sideways.
They're responding.
So here's the leaders.
So Davison, Coulthard, they respond, leaves Bright in the lead with Courtney, who is actually closing on the back of that group anyway because they were slowing each other up. So Will Davison's in, Fabian Coulthard, Craig Lowndes joins them together with David Reynolds, Scotty McLaughlin, Tony D'Alberto. They all move to the pit lane for service. A big slide. He's bowled a couple of his guys over there, Fabian.
Hey, as Craig Lowndes comes in, have a look at his tyres here, but behind me, look, 2 green tyres down the left side, and on the other side, the inside of the car, remembering it's a clockwise circuit,
They've got a
2
problem.
used tyres.
And they've got a problem there.
Okay, I got 2 cars.
The rear right, they couldn't get it off.
The red valve lead, Fujitsu car clear, good.
That's really cost Craig. That was a massive drama on the back of that car.
They changed guns on the left rear, so that probably cost him 4 or 5 seconds, so he's buried. He was already having a difficult run.
And I think I just saw, well, this was the big understeer, wasn't it? It just locked the front.
On the concrete. It's the concrete. They need the sturdy, hardy nature of the concrete for the jacks. And here's the problem on that left rear we spoke about. So they didn't actually change the gun in the end. They were standing by to do it, but that was all awkward.
So this will be very interesting. We'll capture this for you now. So definitely, Whincup's been the winner in the stop race because the way that it is rolled out, Winterbottom has jumped Davison. Davison has remained in front of Coulthard. So Whincup is the real winner in the pit stop race.
So the undercut has actually served them well there, getting onto the new rubber early.
3 to go.
Plus, in Fabian's case, that little slip, just pinching the brakes, just locking up and sliding, and having the car slightly out of position means that all of the boys around the car have got to take a shuffle to accommodate it. That just adds a precious bunch of tenths, and that's had an impact on the racetrack as well.
100%. And the other part that's happened is, you know, this is such a team sport, but they did a very, very good job at Red Bull because they've effectively jumped the other 2 teams. For speed, Will Davison and Fabian Coulthard were in front of Whincup. He was not going to get them. The pit stop has made the difference.
It is an interesting question as Van Gisbergen takes service in the VIP Pet Foods entry. Bright's got his clean air now. He got some laps for free at the beginning of the race. And if he was to pit now, because of the undercut effect of those that got onto the rubber, that's going to hurt him. So what they'll be praying for down at Team BOC is another safety car, and they'll be watching their lap speed on this like hawks, because this throws up the strategy question that we've been speaking about. 56.7, by the way, Craig Lowndes on that new tyre set that he's gone out on has just given him the fastest lap of the race.
And that's the lap time difference, Matt. So 57.62 for Bright, 56.77 for Lowndes, so it's 1 second faster.
And across a group of cars, if you take averages, they wear the tyres here at the rate that affects the lap speed of around about 0.1 of a second. So a 1/10 of a second a lap is the penalty as you stay out there on these softer tyres in this harsh racetrack surface. So it's Courtney now serviced and joining back on the tail of Fabian Coulthard. If anything, he's lost a bit of ground there. Again, those that got onto the newer tyre earlier get that gain. However, James is now on a younger tyre, so he'll get a little bit of that back.
It was down here at BJ, Brad. Jason is coming in this lap.
Yeah.
So he stayed out a little bit longer. He's doing some good times on those tyres.
Well, he was feeling very comfortable in the car, but here it's all about clean air. So we're trying to get him so they've got a 5-lap buffer so we can attack them towards the end of the race. So it's worked out pretty good considering the bad start he had. So hopefully this will play in our favour. We'll get in that front group and we'll be good to go.
And a couple of greens I see left-hand side.
That's a legacy of breaking the gear stick in qualifying. So hopefully it's going to be good for him. I think he's in a good spot, but we'll see what happens.
Thanks, mate.
So Bradley and his guys are prepared to take the pain now, but they're hoping that
it's very slippery. Come in straight.
Andrew Edwards just reminding Jason of what happened to Fabian Coulthard there about the slipperiness of the concrete. So in he comes. So they'll take the hit now, but they have 5-lap younger tyres that they hope will deliver them an outcome at the back end of the race. How big's the hit?
Be careful.
And the other part of this is that when you are on, we call it this cliff, so the tyre degrades and degrades. We don't really know, nobody knows how far it degrades because we're running longer today than we did yesterday.
Yeah, we've only got a 25-lap sample from yesterday.
That's right, so you're standing on the edge, you're just not sure where they get to.
Fabian's climbing all over the back of Will Davison here, so let's see.
It's going to be tight with Courtney here, so just watch it on exit.
There you go, let's see where he comes out. He's going to come out just in behind James Courtney.
Fair way behind him.
Fair way,
it's Shane Van Gisbergen he's got to worry about.
Okay, so in front of Van Gisbergen, that's 11th on the road with the top 5 out there still to pit.
So 19 laps is the signal to Jason on that tyre set. Did 25 laps yesterday, so he knows what that's going to feel like. And he's actually got initially a bit of clean air to deal with, which will be handy for him. If he got stuck behind Shane, so you can see how tight that was, that would have been a real disaster for the strategy. It may work for him. He's going to have to nurse the tyres a little in this early phase, or he won't have enough credit in the bank for the latter part of the race. So if he goes crazy now to narrow that margin down to James Courtney, that'll hurt. Jason's done enough of this to be able to manage that.
Neil, seems like we talk about tyres and degradation a lot, doesn't it? But the reality is that's what this game at this track, or all track, but this in particular, is about. And up here at Team Red Bull, we saw Jamie Whincup go out on qualifying tyres, used tyres, but they've done a qualifying run, so about 3 laps. Alternatively, Craig Lowndes, he went out, as you saw, with green tyres on one side of the car. Remember, we saw him qualifying. He didn't go back out, he kept a set. So I can still see sitting over here 2 more green tyres for Craig Lowndes that he'll use later in the day.
Race director Tim Schenken's also just asked officials to take a look at the driver's window, car 3, Tony D'Alberto, which apparently is popping out. Coulthard's looking up the inside here. He's going to get a run. He's actually done this. So he's turned it in tighter, he's picked up the throttle earlier, and he's underneath Will Davison. And all he has to do now is sit there.
And we've spoken all weekend about the Whincup Winterbottom rivalry. It's on at the front because Whincup didn't come out of turn 6 that well. And Winterbottom had a run on him. He's right behind him. You can see this now. This will be fantastic. See the trail braking, brakes all the way into the corner.
And also that little crease in the road down there at 1. It's been there for years. And you see the way the car buckled as it went across the bump down there. So you can see the back of Whincup's car reacting. Courtney and Davison at it.
Courtney's doing a good job. He's actually faster in this part of the race than I thought he would be. He's come right up onto the back of Davison now.
You guys, I was just going to bring that up, actually. Look at the speed of James Courtney. You had the opportunity there with a bit of the dicing that was going on, especially with Davison and Fabian Coulthard, who has skipped away. But Courtney at the moment showing very good pace and very consistently. Interesting to see if he can continue to move forward.
And Winterbottom threatening. Meantime, Jason Bright's absolutely gobbling up that margin to James Courtney, so he's underneath Scott Pye with ease. He skipped well away from Shane Van Gisbergen with the benefit of the new tyre, and we know his car balance is good. So there are a couple of little interesting battles going on here, plots within the plot. Dean Fiore is actually the race leader, yet to stop. There are 2 of them, Fiore and Kremer. Actually 3 of them, because Scott Pye hasn't stopped either. And the lead car to have taken a stop is the man on screen there, car number 1, Jamie Whincup.
Last lap around, Jason Bright was more than a second faster than the 2 cars ahead of him, Courtney and Will Davison.
But juggling that whole equation, because he can't afford to take too much out of the tyre performance now, because he'll need a little bit later, because when you try and pass people, you use more of the tyre.
Racecraft was very good then for Whincup. He knew that Prema was a chance to hold him up, so he did a really good job down at turn 6 and got away with it. And you can see the little gap that he's got now to Winterbottom, so very, very good.
Dean Fiore and Alex Prema yet to pit. So our effective race leader is Jamie Whincup. Also back in the lead of the championship as well. This fight between Whincup and Winterbottom is back on.
Lap was at 57.3. So 14 laps to go, 14.
Welcome back. WA's Dean Fiore leads this race. He's done 29 laps on this set of tyres, yet to pit. He'll have to head into pit lane sooner or later. Jamie Whincup will take over the lead of the race and resume this battle that's been ongoing for so long with Mark Winterbottom. Jason Bright continues to light up the timesheets with fresher tyres than those around him.
Well, interesting to note the lap speed of Dean Fiore, because he's done so many laps. We can get a gauge of his performance. 58.7 was his last lap time, where Whincup, for example, has done a 57.3. So it's a 1.4 second swing in favour of Whincup. Frankly, Fiore's got further than I thought, and the tyre hasn't fallen as far as I thought.
Exactly.
There are only 2 other drivers who are yet to pit. Alex Prema, his last lap of 59.7. Scotty Pye, 59.7 as well. Speaking of.
Oh, keep up. Well, yeah, well done. Thought he was going to stay there then. And down the inside goes Bright. Very good move.
That's for 5th.
Now, as we look at these guys crest over the hill, Scafey, you were talking before about you've got to make that move down into the braking area as they come down here, and you just got to understand they're doing 255, 260 there. Right at that point there, whack, you see the nose of the car go down. Now, that's as big a stop as you'll see anywhere in our country. It's around 1,400 PSI at the caliper of line pressure. That's the fluid pressure. Now, the driver's pedal, depending on what pedal ratio he's using and what master cylinders and slave cylinders he has, he'll be about 80 kilos of pedal pressure. Now, multiply that by 3 stops per lap, 42 lap race. What's that, 120 something stops? Now, if you're not sure what that might feel like, lay on your back, find someone that weighs 80 kilos, similar weight to what you might be, and do 120 something of them. Someone do that addition for me. I just can't work that out right now. And see what your right thigh feels like. It's a big, the point I'm making is a big stop. It's a big stop, Mark.
Well done, Lucko. Be good if you had your calculator with you when you're starting to roll that out.
While he's busy working the abacus flat out there at the moment, the word is that Fiore doesn't intend to stop.
No.
So I'm going to just keep on watching the lap speed. It was a 59.9 for him. So let's just clarify this. He is the race leader. There's certainly no compulsion to stop.
Exactly.
So he can take the gamble. Is Chaz Mosdet in car number 12, Wilson Security?
Where's he going to finish?
Where's he going to finish? Well,
I think he's going to be 11th or 12th.
and if Ludo Lacroix there on the right from 888 Race Engineering, Lucas Dumbrell on the left. And if you look at where he's qualified, which was down in 22nd, and then you think about what the continuation of the grading of the tyres going to look like, he's probably going to get a gain. It's just a question of how much.
There he is. So you'll see the gap. There, the pack are approaching. So Whincup is your effective leader when he gobbles up Dean Fiore in the next few laps, because the lap speed difference from that lap was a 59.26 versus a 57.63. So 1.6 seconds is the margin between the fast group of cars that have got fresh tyres on versus Dean Fiore, who's battling with the original set of tyres. Pretty healthy battle here with Caruso and Tander, or Moffat and Tander, sorry. So Whincup, Winterbottom, Coulthard, Bright, Davison, Courtney, Van Gisbergen, and Alex Davison still in front of Lowndes. Prema is the other guy who hasn't stopped, so he's 11th. Dave Reynolds and Scott McLaughlin.
We've seen some good pace from Dean and this team this year. Remember, these cars were built by 888 Race Engineering and Dodo Car Insurance supporting this campaign this year. But Dino's really enjoying driving the car. It's been a step up for him.
Yeah, I'm in here right now, guys, with Brendan Hogan, Dean Fiore's engineer. Mate, was this a strategy at the start of the race?
No, mate, we're just seeing how it goes. It's actually Dave's car over here. I'm on Scotty's car.
I've asked the wrong one.
We're a shot duck at the moment, so we're just praying for a safety car on my car.
That's me being the amateur that I am, boys. I might ask Couchy, he's here. Couchy, was this strategy, mate?
We weren't in a very good quality position, so we thought we'd roll the dice a little bit. That safety car at the start of the race has helped us a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, we're not going to win the thing, but we'll see where we end up. Take
So
a bit of a gamble.
you're committed to staying out?
Yeah, mate, we've got to.
Yeah, okay, good stuff. Thanks, guys.
Good on him.
If he stops now, it's an absolute disaster. So they're all over him, no surprise. And a big chunk of time taken just in this last sector.
But he is doing a good job. I like the thought of trying to do this, especially with that early safety car. So Bright down the inside of his teammate, Fabian Coulthard. Fabian wisely didn't try to cover or to block. And now, just see Winterbottom. Oh, this will hold both of them up. Winterbottom gets down there. So Dean was caught wide.
I heard Andrew Edwards in the background say the target is Winterbottom. So Jason Bright's got the crosshairs on the back of the Pepsi Max Falcon at the moment, trying to figure out how to narrow that margin. He's got Dean Fiore in the middle, Dean's third in the purple Dodo car there. So Jason will get off turn 5 much easier with a whole lot more tyre grip and fire down the inside at 6. So there's first, second and third cleansed. Whincup, Winterbottom, Bright, Fiore for the moment, and Coulthard will grab him as well. And Dean will fall to just outside the top 10 somewhere.
Boys, I don't know. I'm just watching Winterbottom sit back there. If we recall in yesterday's racing, he was very, very good on the last 3 or 4 laps. He managed his tyres during the race very well. And when you look at Mark Winterbottom's data, his race data, the way he drives the car, he's one of the smoothest guys on the circuit. I wouldn't discount at the moment. He's just looking after them, ready for a pounce on the last couple of laps.
The younger tyres serving Jason Bright well at the moment.
This was this little moment that we were talking about a second ago, where Dean was caught wide and Mark had to get down the inside of him. We're on board now with Winterbottom. That's the pass for second position.
Now the hard stuff begins for Jason Bright. So he'll whittle this air gap down, but then he's 5 laps difference in tyre age, but he's got to do something special in car speed to be able to get around either of the two in front. And that's going to be a bit tricky. this is pretty tricky.
That looks a bit tricky, doesn't it?
Oh, and the weeds out there.
A Nissan, a Merc, and an Enforcer.
Equals
Trouble.
Safety car.
So that's Michael Caruso, Tim Slade, and Russell Ingall, who you're riding with for Super Cheap Auto Racing.
Oh, that's a big dive bomb pass down the inside. He had to run over the gutter on the inside. He was up on that. You could see that concrete apron.
I think he fed it a lower gear to do it as well, Russell, so he could sneak around the inside. He's got it done, though, hasn't he? Nice job.
And it's for 23rd, 24th, 25th. It's a pretty lively battle between these guys. Have a look. So he's run down there. He's had to run it up onto the gutter area. See on the inside concrete apron.
Didn't lock a brake, though.
It was a good pass.
Cool. Certainly no touching, so well done, Russell Ingall. Look at this. So Jason Bright now coming out of turn 6. He's right on the back of Frosty.
He's consistently been at least half a second quicker per lap over the last 4 or 5 laps since Dean Fiore exited that picture.
Former teammates are at Ford Performance Racing together. They won a Sandown 500.
And just picture a good start.
Yes.
He would win this race. So, qualified pole, bad start, goes back to 4th. And now you see the pace. He's come through. I would argue that even the strategy at that point wasn't the best strategy because they were later than the rest. Now the tyre's fresher. And you can see him coming out Winterbottom.
It's right in the critical phase right now, though, Jason Bright, because right now is when you use the tyre. But here we go, the move. He looks, it's about 7/8 of a car width there, and he squeezes up. There's a bit of a rub on the exit, but Bright's got position now. Frosty's squeezed out wide. Now he's got the run down the inside to turn number 7. They are rubbing mirrors. That's scary stuff.
That's great. Little bit cheeky in the braking area.
Nice work, mate. Nice work. You got 3 to go. 3 to go.
That was wild. When they're rubbing, did you see the mirrors fan? When they were rubbing mirrors up the straight, that was fine. But in the braking area at the bottom of the hill, that was wild. So this is the rub. They had a little rub at turn 6, little bump, and then they run right up over the hill. Look at how much road Winterbottom used. Now just watch really closely because the mirrors rub now. And then in the braking area, Jason was a little bit cheeky. He moved it as wide as he possibly could. And Winterbottom, there's the rub. Let's look at that. I love that stuff. That's 250 kilometres an hour. Now this is the bit that's a bit cheeky. Just there, he didn't quite give Mark enough room. It was touch and go.
It was kind of an automotive high five, wasn't it, with the mirrors? But you're right, it was just it was on the wrong side of holding your breath, that one, but they got away with it, the two of them.
So the next question is, can he round up Jamie Whincup in 2 laps?
Headlights on for Bright. He's got Scott Pye filling the gap. It's a big job.
Meanwhile, Dean Fiore's still in 8th. Davison and Lowndes are the next 2 to get him.
And that would be a career best for Dean Fiore if he can hold down 8th. It's going to be tough.
Oh.
There's your gap. 1.5 laps left in this race. Whincup absolutely benefiting from a great play by Red Bull Racing Australia to bring him in early.
Alex Premer didn't stop either, so there's 2 of them out there that didn't stop for tyres in this one.
And Scotty Pye.
And Scotty Pye, didn't see him on the tail, you're right, 27th at the moment.
Okay, last lap.
Oh, look at Dean. He's been monstered by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. That'll put him back to, where is he now? There's 11th. Reynolds he'll get him. So Reynolds and Tander will get by. So he'll end up 13th as a consequence of that move. That's pretty wild stuff. They've had a bit of history, those boys.
They do, side by side through turn 3 there. Here's the margin, 1st to 2nd, and I don't think Jason's got any response now.
He'll be kicking himself about that start. Car was definitely fast enough to have won today.
But the winner of race 11 will be our championship leader.
Woo! We're going to mojo back. Nice work.
The mojo's back.
All you, mate. All you. Oh, yeah, brother. Tied a couple of seconds. Love your work.
Jamie Whincup hands the kudos over to his team and to his engineer, Mark Dutton, for making that strategy call earlier and paid dividends beautifully. He held on to beat Bright by 0.7 of a second. Tim Slade's going to have a final dive here on Jono Webb, who goes so far out wide he almost ended up in the old pit lane. Whoa. That was for position 22.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? Dean Fiore finished 13th. Very good job.
There's our winner. Second race win of 2013 for Jamie Whincup. So it was kind of a slow start in his terms. Missed out on the top step in Adelaide and Simmons Plains, but fought back at Pukekohe. And again here, a top 10 performance again for both Alex Davison and James Moffat. So Moffat, the leading Nissan in the team. Chaz Mostert, mid-pack. And Tim Slade, the leading Erebus Motorsport AMG Mercedes-Benz. So that's race 11 done. One more to come this afternoon. Remember that qualifying has already been settled for that. And this man will start from pole position again. So good performance. Red Bull Racing Australia, 2 out of 2. So far in the Chill Perth 360 after Lowndes winning the 60-60 Super Sprint yesterday. And just another lap or so would have been all Jason Bright needed.
You drove very well, Matt. That was a really good comeback from a bad start. The car was very fast, looked after his tyres very well. Whincup, very good performance also.
It was an interesting statement too, Scafie, that he said, you know, we got our mojo back, and Mark Dutton responded with sick of coming second. They got so used to winning. He's leading the championship coming in to this race, of course, but they're here to win these things. Bright will go over and congratulate him and the team. It's good. A lot of respect there. So it's the 66th time that Jamie Whincup has won a race in his career, the 4th time that he's done it at this circuit.
Well, mate, well done, Jamie. Can I say to you, you said to me earlier in the day, mate, that big changes to your car, and on the warm down lap, you said it's all you to your team. Obviously, that was the response.
Yeah, first time this year we've just had genuine pace, you know, so we could lead from the front. It was getting a bit hairy there in the middle with Mark, and we knew Bridie was coming, so but yeah, hey, genuine pace. I feel like we've got our mojo back a little.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen you this happy for a while, which says to me you're clearly not happy yesterday.
No, you know, the car hasn't been 100% all year, and we've been slowly chipping away. Everyone's been asking the questions, you know, what's Red Bull doing, you know, but we've been chipping away, and you know, it feels awesome. Well, I'm not saying it's going to continue, but we're hoping we're certainly on the right track.
Good job, mate, and well done. Just see if we can find Jason Bright over here. Hey, Bridie, you probably don't want to hear this, mate, but on my observations, mate, if you'd won that start, you would have won that race because you were coming very strong at the end.
Yeah, no, the car's strong. Like you know, I said that earlier this morning. We just need some clear air, and we've got to work on those starts. They've been costing us pretty badly. We seem to have a bit of a clutch problem that, you know, both of us are struggling with. So, you know, hopefully we can sort of sort that out, and when we start up the front, we can start to win some starts to the first corner. But the car's good. We'll just punch on this afternoon.
Well, you got speed, mate, and we both know that is the hard bit, so well done. Hey, Frosty, I was talking to your team principal during the race, like yesterday. It looked to me like you were hanging back, conserving your tyres, very strong at the end, but it didn't quite go the distance.
No, it didn't. The times were actually a lot quicker than yesterday, so although you're conserving, you're still doing a lot quicker time and using the tyre. So I thought I had him there at one stage, Jamie, when he was coming on, but then obviously the strategies and all that sort of stuff when Bridie's coming. So not as good as yesterday with the tyre life, but the pace was up as well. So we'll just try and work on it for the next one.
All right, it's fascinating to watch. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, hey guys, in here with Dean Fiore, net gain of 9 spots here, mate. You're one of only a couple of cars to stay out and run a very, very different strategy, no pit stop. It must have been really, really hard at the end there not looking in your mirror to see who was coming.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't actually know that wasn't the plan, right? So we did it on the hop. So I actually got told to push. Use these tyres up, use these tyres up. That was only for 2 laps. And then the boys said, actually, hang on. Maybe you should button off and just conserve. So that's what I did and tried to keep it straight. I had Couchy and Dude Morris coaching me on the radio and just brought me home.
It was a great drive. I mean, it really, really hard to control that right foot there to just look after those tyres, I'm sure. I mean, 1 lap too long. I mean, 10th was there on the cars, but just that last lap, those couple of guys got past.
Yeah, it's amazing how much they catch you. Like, when we had 9 to go, I was looking in my mirror and I was like, oh my God, this is the easiest race win on the planet, you know? And then they come fast. I was even using different gears. So down at turn 6 at the bowl, it's 3rd gear. I was actually plucking 4th really early just to try and get some drive out of the bottom. Tough.
It was a tough race. We'll see what he does in the next one. Might do the same strategy, maybe. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. 13th for Dean Fiore, the best result at his home circuit. So the championship picture now looks like this. The lead for Jamie Wingcup's been extended out to 45 points. Lowndes remains in 3rd. It's been a costly weekend for Garth Tander, who's slipping down the list. What should have been a celebratory weekend, his 200th championship start, and of course his home event as well. But it's time for the podium. Aaron Noonan is there.
The podium for race 11 in the 2013 V8 Supercars Championship. In first place for Red Bull Racing Australia, Jamie Whincup. In second position for Team BOC, Jason Bright. In third place for the Pepsi Max crew and Ford Performance Racing, Mark Winterbottom. And representing the winning team Red Bull Racing Australia, Adrian Burgess. To present the trophy to third place, Marcus Geisler, Executive General Manager West for Coates Hire. Presenting the second place trophy, Gwyn Dolphin, Executive Director of Events Corp, Western Australia. Presenting the winning team award, Rob Janney, President of Western Australia Sporting Car Club. And the first place trophy, Ben Purcell, Managing Director of Browns Chill. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is, your podium finishes in race 11 at the Chill Perth 360.
The second win of the year for Jamie Whincup. Mark Winterbottom on the podium now twice in the 2 races that we've had so far. It's ominous, Crompo, signs that Red Bull Racing Australia are finding their mojo.
He's done a fantastic job and he's got history here. Finished in the top 3 of 9 of the last 10 races coming into this weekend. He's been a real machine here in the recent past, and he just said that we've really got the car working nicely here, and that's precisely what we just saw